Hello guys, and welcome back to another episode. Um, so, we're still here at the amusement park, but don't you worry. That's not what we're gonna work on in this episode. Although I have been, uh, increasing, or I raised up all the leaves, and now I'm working on getting glowstone under all the leaves. But, what we're gonna do today, because I just need to get a video out today, is we're going to go and we're gonna review everyone's builds. We're going to help them out by explaining to them why their builds need improvement. So as I was saying before my dog interrupted, we're going to go review some stuff. But Ben worked on the entrance some more. That still looks less than ideal, but he made this nice little entrance section with a security and an exit. I should tell him to switch the sides. Usually, at least at the Six Flags I've gone to, and I think Disneyland, you enter on the right and exit on the left. I'm not actually sure about Disneyland. It's been a while since I've been there, but I should tell him to switch that. But this is a pretty cool, like, security checkpoint that you go through, and then the little exit gate. Anyway, off to go review some people's creations. Alright, so I'm on my way back, and just came through here. This is interesting. Oh yeah, Ben's moving his villagers into the end. Well, if I had to review this build, I'd say tear it all down and start from scratch, because this looks terrible. Like, these colors don't work too well together, honestly, and then this little splash of color, not the best I've seen. Could have some better decoration. Okay. There's a new recruit. Oh, here's another one. Um, well, I'm a pro at this. Okay, well, he's gonna have fun with that. This track looks like it was placed down haphazardly. Honestly, not the best. I would rate that build a, let's be generous and give it a 1 out of 10. There goes Ben. Anyway, we have to set a baseline, so if that's a 1 out of 10, now I know how I'll review everything else. I guess this is still all the same build, so I'm not gonna, don't want to change my rating here. Not that I would. Alright, to spawn. To rate more buildings. Alright, starting off, let's go with this quarry. I'm going to give it a solid 7.5 out of 10. There's a lot of wood here. That's the only... and it seems to kind of all blend together, and this bottom part doesn't really... 1, 2, 3. There should be a torch here, and here, and here. This bottom part, it still seems kind of unfinished, even though it's supposed to have kind of an industrial look, so yeah, 7.5 out of 10. It goes well with the hole in the ground, and the platform with the cobbles, a nice touch. So 7.5 out of 10 for this quarry. Moving on, let's rate the wool district as, well, let's do it individually and then kind of do an overall thing. Wool shop is pretty good. It has this nice half dome here. It's actually, oh, let me check the outside. Did he? Okay, so he didn't actually do the dome correctly. So, gonna have to take off some points for that, because it's a fake dome. He wants it to seem like a dome, but really it's just a squashed, melted attempt of a dome. But inside, we got some nice lighting, very symmetrical. He doesn't have every type of wool, though. He's missing white. So, Gonna have to take off points for that as well, but overall, I think this is a solid 7 out of 10. Moving on, I'll do the statue last. Rocket. Clearly worse than wool. First of all, it's a box. Not only is it a box, it's a box made out of red wool and an ugly arrow on the back with a staircase down somewhere. But it's just a box of red wool, you know? So, not much really going on for it. The color scheme doesn't really make sense to me. Like, I get this kind of the white and the red and I guess the yellow for, like, the rockets with the fire. But rockets in Minecraft don't have yellow in the stream. It has white as the thing, as you can see. These letters are kind of ugly, and this one is just, it's attached by a single block, and there's some string up there as well for some inexplicable reason. This R is half hanging off. Inside, this black wool seems out of place, and these barrels in the middle of everything kind of take up all the space in this room. These chandeliers could use some work. That arrow's fine, I guess. I think you could do a better arrow, but I'm going to give this a 5.5 out of 10. And I think that's being a bit generous. Now for the statue, it's minimalistic. I can appreciate that. There's some coarse dirt here for some reason. It's a nice little podium for him to stand on. Nice diamond blocks. A bit flashy, I think. Not really necessary. I really like the way he depicted the person. I think that could be stairs, maybe. Or maybe that would look weird. And maybe have a slab there. But overall, pretty nice. He has string on top of this for some reason. I guess that's so that mobs don't spawn there. Can mobs spawn on string? I guess not. That's probably why all that's there. But what's this smoke supposed to be? It's really unclear. Is he... You know, it doesn't make sense. Like, he's clearly standing on top of his small pile of wealth. But did he just burn down a building to do it? You know, that smoke kind of takes away from it. And I feel like he could have done a bit more. So I'm going to give that an 8.5. Say somewhere around an 8.5 out of 10. Matt's treehouse, he chopped down his treehouse. I guess he knew inevitably I would be going around rating the buildings, and he didn't want to know what the rating for that would be. And I will allow him to not know what the rating of that will be. I will not give a rating, since I cannot... My memory might change the judgment. Anyway, I guess next we need to go over to Ben's base. Over here at Ben's base, have to say, this, well, his farms are pretty nice. They managed to add a bit to this very ugly box. See, boxes, not only are they ugly, but the larger the box, without any redeeming features, the uglier it makes the building. The size of this box does not help his score. In fact, it hurts him. So I'm going to go ahead and say that with his farms, that he gets a solid 5.5 out of 10. Yeah, a solid 5.5 out of 10. Alright, I guess over to Matt's island. Here it is. He's definitely added some stuff to it. Well, let's see what we can give this here. What? Wait, you can have grass underwater? I honestly thought that it turned to dirt for some reason. That's interesting. Alright, well, there is... Okay, well, first and foremost, he has a lot of grass around here on the edges. It's a bit too much. Let's look at the overall shape of the island here first, though. It's interesting, alright. Yeah, it's not too bad. The flat, or the top of the island is way too flat. It just kind of stops, which makes it look fake. But, the grass is overgrown. This path is kind of nice. He has a baby zombie pigman here for some reason. Okay. These trees are pretty nice. He should have used this type of oak wood instead of normal logs. He should have used the like full-sided ones, I think, because this looks a bit odd. Also, it's clearly just sitting on top of the grass, and he didn't, like, he could have added some roots here or something to improve it. Also, the top of them is quite flat, isn't it? Oops, that wasn't a good flight. Let's do this properly. The top of them, I feel, are it's a bit misshapen. I don't know, but I feel like there's something he could do for the top here to make it look a bit better. I do like the weeping willow aspect, though. I kind of wish it was weeping a bit more, like there was a bit more space up here closer to the trunk, because that's, if he's trying to do, let me look up a picture of a willow tree, make sure I'm not speaking out of my rear, but maybe it's not a willow tree I'm thinking of. But they tend to have, yeah, they tend to have less leaves towards the center here. Maybe he was modeling it after some other type of tree. I'm not sure what that's supposed to look like. Is that supposed to be a pulley system holding the lantern? A pulley system like that would be not functional. So I don't know what that's supposed to be. Same thing for up there. You have a cat sitting here. Nice, making your cat sit outside. Overall, I like the style of this house. I wonder what video or what build he took inspiration from. But it's a decent house. It's quite dark in that second layer up there, and though, like, what is this? Is this dark oak or spruce? It's dark oak. That dark oak next to the stripped dark oak, I feel like there's a better combination there. I like this entrance. This is a nice entrance. And that's pretty creative. Oh, he could disguise it better on the inside. I'm gonna go ahead and assume that this interior is not done yet, but is he going to have a staircase or is he just gonna have a ladder? Because, just having a ladder would definitely be detrimental. You can have a ladder to an attic, but to a upper floor, a ladder is not sufficient. Let's see up here. Like this ladder is fine. A nice little attic up here. Looks pretty nice. Yeah. Nice top layer up here. Did I check this room? I did. Just a bed. So I feel like the interior is unfinished, but I'm still going to judge it for what it is and not for what it could be. So it feels so cramped, honestly. I get that he has a small island and he doesn't have a lot of space, but like this first floor does it expand as it goes up a bit? But I guess that's kind of his artistic choice, but having this first floor be smaller than this floor up here that you have to take or it feels smaller because of all these chests. This floor feels smaller and because there are no windows. Up here, this floor feels like there's more space. I guess that's up to him, but to have to use a ladder to get to the main floor, it seems like, that's not a choice I would take. But the design of it is overall pretty good. So I'm gonna give this a it's not quite a 9, I don't think, overall, this whole island, but I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10, which I feel is pretty good. He should be proud of that. I do like this glowstone thing he's doing here to light it up, but he hasn't done it enough to omit the need for torches. Even with these lanterns and the glowstone, he still needs torches around. He should commit to getting the lighting here working properly without torches, I think. If he's going to put in the work to put in glowstone like this. Yeah. Let's get an aerial look of the top of this. Okay, this is interesting. I like the chimney. But this roof, actually, I'm not going to change my score, but this does kind of justify even more why I didn't give him a 9. This roof structure, I'm not a fan. It feels so haphazard and illogical. Like, why is this block lower than this block? It's closer to the center and closer to this tallest section. This just kind of feels... It's interesting. It just feels kind of all... This roof feels messy. There's too much. Too much. It's a decent chimney, though. Frankly, those... I don't... You could probably do a better chimney. It just feels so... It's just a 2x2, even though he does throw in these stairs. Anyway, that's fine. So, what did I give him? I gave him an 8.5. Alright, I guess we'll head over to my sister's place. First and foremost, let's do her actual base. The entrance here is not welcoming, I have to admit. It's not welcoming at all. You have to actually think about how you're going to enter her base. There's no clear path. It's quite open, dangerous, not very well lit up. Confusing, even. If she's trying to confuse people on how to get to her actual base, then good job, but, you know, could definitely be quasi-home. Could definitely be clearer. This room lacks all decoration. Things aren't even organized. You have furnaces, and then one furnace, and then a smoker. I know these are blast furnaces. Junk chests strewn about. This acacia door does not match anything here. Doesn't match those fences. That's a mismatch in the wood used here. This room is nicer, definitely. She has a couple of lanterns, but same problem with Matt. If you're going to use something other than torches, you should commit and make sure that you don't have to use any torches at all. So that's a bit disappointing. The lighting here is not consistent. This is a nice little nether section. I like that. This grindstone is floating. Very unrealistic to the viewer's eye. You know, that immediately disrupts their immersion in the space. Nice little enchanting area here, but overall, this is not a very pretty area. Man, I wish I had written down a list of what I'd rated the other things, but if Matt's place was an 8.5 and the Nether Villager Transport was a 1, this is better than Ben's box. Definitely more thought put into it than that. So a 6.5. Also, I'll say this place is a 6.5. Now to rate her spawners. Alright, so coming over to the spawner, already an improvement of hers, I think, at least with the entrance. Are these my wolves? They are. It's obvious where you're supposed to go. So that's an improvement. This is an interesting kind of cramped dual or entrance exit system. I'm not a fan of this elevator. It's unnecessary and slower than just doing nothing. A solution implemented that is less effective than having done nothing is not generally something you want to implement. Wow, this is something, alright. I have not been here since this was added. Can't even get over there. Before, it was already like a cramped area. It felt very unwelcoming, you know? You never came here for the visuals, and cramped with a bunch of chests everywhere. Could have been designed better with the forethought to have space to store everything, or like a separate room for the storage of things. And now with this has just brought it to whole new lows. Let's go look at the other spawner down over here. Once again, well, there are paths here that, if you dare to trek through, are confusing and can take you. It used to be dangerous because the zombie spawner actually hooked up to one. You could walk right into it, but she's probably fixed that, so I won't let that affect the rating. Down here, there's no none of that attempt at item sorting. It's still not a very pleasing to look at area. Even after her experience with the first spawner, she did make the room a bit bigger, but she didn't think ahead to add a storage room so that you could be less attacked by the sight of thousands of chests. In neither spawner does she label any of the chests. You have to figure out what they all are through experimentation. It overall could just be, it could be better, you know? So I think we're gonna have to go ahead and say this is worse than her base, actually. Surprising. At least she has these elevators. These elevators are a nice touch. See, this is actually useful, unlike her down elevator. But overall, I think this is worse than her other base. I don't remember what I gave Ben's base, but I think I'm gonna have to give this a 5 out of 10. And that's a bit generous. 5 out of 10 right here. Yeah. I don't think we need to look at my base. I think we already know, all of us already know the rating that would get, so we can just not go over to my base. I guess we do need to go see Ben's new base. Nobody else on this. Oh wait, we didn't see Wesley's home. We should probably do that, and then we will go to the end and look at Ben's real base. I would like to say, even though I'm not going to rate it, this farm setup is looking pretty nice. I like the natural shapes, the incorporation of the water, not placed at regular grid patterns. Maybe should have committed to fully ignoring grid patterns and not done this grid pattern for the torches. So a bit of a disappointment there, but not going to rate that. Over to Wesley's little house here. It's quaint, small, has a little charm about it. I don't like the choice of birch for the support logs here. Have to say, birch isn't really a wood you would choose for its support capabilities, I don't think. And it just seems a bit off here, especially with this quartz here. That's quartz, right? Yeah. Did they change what quartz looks like? Oh, this is smooth quartz. Okay. Yeah, this birch with this quartz, it doesn't go properly, I don't think. Also, this grass right up to the doors are even on grass. That's a bit odd, honestly. Yeah. Another white block here that doesn't work well with the birch, I don't think. This off-white, almost gray with the birch, I don't think that goes too well. I do like these flower sections here. It's also quite the odd shape for a house, isn't it? It's kind of leaning over to one side. From the back, it looks worse. Here in the front, it doesn't seem so bad, but it's... He also doesn't use stairs or slabs on his roof, so it's kind of like a sharp decrease there. That doesn't seem quite right. Also, he has that one acacia plank there. Interesting choice. Can't say I would have made the same. You come in, he makes... Don't break it. Ooh, that's a lot of mending books. On the inside, he makes good use of his space, but this is not... This should not be accepted. Have to say, I'm not a fan of this molding around the top there. Up here... Okay, up here it looks pretty nice. The windows go all the way to the floor, and in some cases up to the ceiling, but only in some cases. Odd window choice here. The window connects to a crafting table here. That's not very good. I'm a clownfish. Not sure what that's supposed to mean. Quite the small little quaint place. I will give this a generous... let's see. I will give it a 7 out of 10. I think that's a fair number. Now I need to go get some rockets and then judge Ben's base. Alright, so here we got his base. Now, like I did for everyone else, I'm going to be judging this not based on what it's going to be or what it could be, but rather on what it is right now. So right now, we have half a dome. Almost half. Actually, no, he is actually at half now. Slightly above half, in fact. It's quite the interesting choice. It looks like he has some portions messed up. Especially because it's not the same on both sides, is it? Let me see here. Why am I falling? I wanted to be grabbing the ladder. Okay, but... that right there... Well, what's that? Same as that? Okay, I guess it's the same on both sides, but in these corners here, it's... Oh, where is it? There. I'm not sure if he copied the dome correctly. Right there, that bit right there doesn't look quite right. But that aside, it's an interesting shape. It doesn't have a good entrance at the moment, though. You kind of just run up to it, bunch of ugly chests in your way, and there it is. It's better than his box, I'll give it that, and it's quite the Herculean task. But he's also missing blocks down there, which is not only quite annoying to look at, but it's also a safety concern. So I might have to take off points for that, and I think this is going to be somewhere between it's going to be around a 7, I think, as it is right now. Just barely a 7. Yeah. Not much to say about it right here, but there's scaffolding all over the place. There's this ugly cobblestone, which doesn't go well with these other blocks he's using. Overall, just disappointing. All of Ben's builds so far are lacking his usual flavor, it seems. I hope we get something better from him in the future. But yeah, just barely a 7 out of 10 here. Well, I think that that is going to end this episode. I'm not sure there's anyone else's builds to critique. Not that I can think of. No one else really has a base. I mean, Haley technically has a little house at a village, but there's not much there. And I don't know any of the other players have anything that I haven't covered. So, yeah. So that's going to end this episode. Thank you guys for watching this great critique, modern critique of less than great art. But, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.